Strong first three quarters from your boys, then it just seemed to unravel a little bit in that last. How'd you see it all play out?
Yeah, if the game went for three quarters, very good performance. I thought we ran out of a bit of steam in terms of the intensity that we were bringing to the contest, and the Gold Coast good players sort of got going in the last quarter, and we were unable to stem the flow. But I thought for the majority of the game, we had a really good contest and limited some of their really good players to fairly limited impact, and we were very pleased. 55 inside 50s for the game, I think it was, and that was a pretty consistent mix across the whole game. So we gave ourselves a pretty good opportunity, but early in the game, it's like we missed some opportunities from some inside 50 dominance, and I think they were 6-1 or something like that. They took their chances and transitioned us a few times, which is really disappointing, because it wasn't as if we didn't know what was coming. We were just unable to execute on those occasions. So there'll be some great lessons for us to learn out of it, but it's no less frustrating, because it feels like it's just some players that will learn a lot. I think that just want the fans and the players to get some reward for effort. I think that was there, but it's you still walk away disappointed.
Dimmer said that he felt you guys were a lot more direct than you have sort of in the first half of the year. Has there been a little tweak in the game for that?
Yeah, we're certainly very. We thought we hung our forwards out to dry a little bit at times, and that old saying, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. It's like, we're just trying to be perfect all the time and not give up the ball. When we're out facing goal, and we want to give our forwards more of an opportunity, and that's really clearly reflected in, and really pleasingly in a week, even though we had a bye, but the last game, 34 inside 50s to 55. So I think that speaks to the difference in terms of our ability to go forward, and sort of lo and behold, Caddy looks dangerous, May looks dangerous, Kako looks dangerous. So that was a pleasing development in our game, and it's not as if we've been sort of trying to be more considered with our ball movement. We just we've got players that don't have necessarily the experience, and the players that have gelled together and understand that midfield forward connection. It's when you look at players that have been playing together for a long time, they almost know what the other one's going to do before they do it. We're not quite there yet. We're trying to build that.
In terms of running out of steam, that last quarter, do you put that down to, it's obviously a pretty young side? Is it sort of as simple as that, or is there a bit more to it?
Yeah, I think I'm always, I'm really pleased with our running capability, but I always, the reference I always give is, Hawthorn through that three-peat era, Brad Hill was on their list, and he used to get subbed out at three-quarter time every week. And Brad Hill is an elite runner, and he was an elite runner as a kid, but AFL footy is not just running. It's the ability to be resilient and absorb contact and hits, and so it sort of weighs on young players. So it's certainly not a running capability issue. It's just a resilience issue, which unfortunately comes with maturity. And but we were very, very keen today to not wait and see what happened. We wanted to get on the front foot and compete, and I thought we did that for a large part of the game. And the fact that we ran out of steam is disappointing, but it's I'd certainly rather go about the game that way than wait and see what happens and come back.
Archie May in the third quarter, 3 goals. I mean, was he at some point looking to be subbed until he got had that burst in the third quarter?
It was an option for us, because we went in with the three with talls with Wright, Caddy and May, but he really shows. I know the 3 goals in the third quarter. Everyone saw that, but we just see really good signs from him. He's a great competitor. He's a great size. We think he's a bit of a find for us, actually. And I thought Blackiston was exceptional. We drafted him as a ruckman. We're playing him as a key back, and he did not look out of place on we probably throw around superstars willy-nilly these days. But I mean, in King and Walter's case, they fit that bill. And he didn't look out of place. King and Walter obviously had their moments, but I thought Blackerson was terrific, May was terrific, and that's the silver lining that we find ourselves in at the moment in an unfortunate situation. We've got to keep trying to find ways to improve, and both finding those sort of players and developing our cohesion, which is a challenge when they were playing in a different competition 4 weeks ago.
Is Nate Caddy developing at kind of the rate that you're hoping to see from him at the moment?
Oh, he's exceeded my hopes, because key forwards, take time. I mean, usually, midfielders, you're not giving away a lot of size and strength. Probably strength, but certainly not size when you come in, and you can, flankers can come in and compete pretty much from day one. Key forwards, in particular, take time. But he's just such an incredible athlete, and I mean, we even enjoyed it from the coach's box. Caddy v Andrew. I mean, it's just unbelievable athletic duel, that one. And I know they didn't play on each other for the whole game, but when they were in a contest, it was pretty enthralling.
Speaking of Caddy, there was a collision there with an umpire. Are you concerned at all about that incident given the new penalties?
No, not at all. The thing where the umpire contact, I said during the week, is mostly coming from ball-ups. I've lost count the number of times I've approached the AFL about moving the umpires out of the corridor. They sprint into the corridor and they stay there, and that's clearly where we want to get the ball. And even when I was at the AFL, I tried to move them out of the corridor and they still wouldn't move out of the corridor. So, we've been at them to move out of the corridor. And the last response I had from Steve McBurney was just pretend they're invisible. Well, he wasn't invisible, and unfortunately, it took the wind out of Nate Caddy. It took 15 minutes to get him going again. So, whose fault is it? Certainly not Nate Caddy's, and particularly given that we've put this on the agenda to move the umpires out of the corridor, and they just refuse to do it. So, understand that the umpire contact around ball ups, and that's a challenge that we've got to solve. But who's responsible for this? I mean, is it Nate Caddy? Because we lost a player for 15 minutes. And then not only that, the ARC tells our doctor to go and check on the umpire and assess the umpire. It's like, and it's Nate Caddy's fault. It's like, I don't expect him to have anything to answer for that.
Has it been exacerbated by the fourth on-field umpire? Like the positioning of the umps have changed because of that?
Well, part of the reason for the 4 umpires was so they didn't get blindsided. So you could have an umpire on either side of the contest. Angus Clark clearly got taken high in forward 50. The umpire's on the wrong side, Pay's holding the ball. Now, that happens, but the reason we've got 4 is so that the umpire on the other side of the contest can see it. And it would make sense if an umpire was in 4 quadrants on the outside of the contest, looking at the contest, but they insist on running into the corridor, and they're coached that way. And then we have a player and an umpire collide, and it's the player's fault.
When you say he was winded, but you meant as in physically winded, or sort of more mentally a bit shaken about possible consequences?
No, he had to come off, and the doctor said it took 15 minutes to get him going again because the contact got him right under the ribs. So, obviously, we don't want the umpires getting hurt either, but we don't want players getting hurt. And as I said, we've put it on the agenda multiple times, and it's just been absolutely ignored. So, I mean, and then we have this. It's like, well, if Nate Caddy's held responsible for that, then, we just throw our hands up. So, we've made our opinion clear on this, and it keeps happening.
Jai Caldwell, is he okay? Came off late?
Yeah, he rolled his ankle, so it was sore enough that, 6 minutes to go that we didn't want to put him back on. We'll have that scanned, and when we have scans at the moment, it's usually not a good thing.
Dersma, there was a little bit of drama just before the first bounce. What happened there?
He had a lower back spasm/tightness, and can understand we're a bit jumpy at the moment. So, we turned Elijah Sardis around from his trip down to the hangar for the VFL game to come back, and with a minute to go, we had to make a decision as to whether to pull him or to play. Now, the doctors were convinced that it wasn't a risk; it was more of a function issue. So if he could function, and in the end, I made it really clear to him that there was no risk, but he needed to be able to function, and I thought he did. So he got through fine.
So did that come down to the last minute?
Minute.
Before we made that call?
Yep. Elijah was in the car. He had to do a U-turn.
Is that why Elijah had been moved into the emergency ranks with Shield?
Not because of Dersma. No. We changed our emergencies late for balance. And Shield had a sore back, so he didn't play at all. So, again, you think you don't need 3 emergencies, but who knows?
Elijah ended up playing the VFL.
Yep. Haven't got a report yet, but not the ideal prep. But the senior team needs to be the priority.
You've obviously got limited availability at the moment, and we're seeing young guys come in and perform pretty well in parts. In terms of the rest of the year, what does the sort of selection philosophy look like from you?
Yeah, it looks like pick our best available team to get the job done on the weekend, and it's not binary. It's not. Fortunately for us at the moment, our best team to win the game on the weekend includes a lot of young players. And so we're not in a position where we need to make a decision between, accelerating the development of youth at the expense of others. We're picking our best team, and so that's how it happens at the moment that involves a lot of our youth.
And the ones that aren't, and you're happy enough for them to develop in the VFL, or would you like to kind of get a few more in and have a look before the end of the year? Wherever possible, we pick the players on form. So we've got some players that I've really been impressed with, and if they put a really good block of work together in the VFL, we wouldn't hesitate to pick them if we think they're in our best side. But it won't be we won't be gifting games, that's for sure.
Were you pleased with Will Setterfield's job on Matt Rao?
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, we rate Rao really highly, and we thought he did a terrific job. But it wasn't that match up. But Anderson, Miller are when the Gold Coast win, it's usually those guys who are dominating. And I thought particularly for the first 3 quarters, we were on top in those duels. But they did what good players do, and they got on top in the last quarter.
Jim said he would have liked to see his man Matt Rao get a little bit more protection from the umpires. Did you guys kind of, push the limits as to what you can do in terms of?
No, well, it's a bit like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, isn't it? So Ben King's getting a lot of free kicks at the moment. So maybe we should go to the umpires and talk about Zach Merritt's treatment every week. But no, I'd prefer to just players to compete.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.